Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Explicitly Unbiased. Today, Gerardo and I will preview the top matchups for week one of college football this weekend, and we'll get into who we think are the true contenders for the college football playoffs at the end of the season, and of course, the latest and greatest in NFL news. So, without further ado, I will hit that intro. Teamwork makes the dream work, don't it?
Amen to that. One take, Jake, Caleb.
All right. Well, we have a loaded show for you guys. Like I said, college football starts this weekend. Still, NFL stuff is going on. Lots of cuts, lots of trades, lots of stuff going down that we'll go over. And Gerardo's got a little something for you as far as a long shot, long-term projection for what's going to be the college football playoff, who's going to come out victorious as champion, who's winning all the conferences, the big ones. We don't care about the MAC or, the Big
pretty
East.
Much the significant big players in the college football scene.
Although I'm sure people want to know, like, what your thoughts are on Montana State trying to, win back the Big Sky Conference championship.
I mean, I'm sure they'll do decent in the respective conference in which they reside in that I have no idea of.
The Big Sky Conference.
Wonderful. You know what? I bet you they're going to finish top half or possibly bottom half of that division. So
they might just finish in the middle. You don't know.
Exactly.
But, Gerardo, welcome back. like you're a guest here. All right, let's get right into it. We're going to start off with the NFL news, a little bit of housekeeping because that's the easy ones to get out of the way. We want to save you the meat and potatoes so you'll stick around and watch the whole thing through. So let's get these notes out of the way, shall we?
Oh, yeah.
The Las Vegas Raiders were active since we last spoke. They traded a 2026 fifth-round pick for quarterback Kenny Pickett, formerly of the Cleveland Browns. They signed Amari Cooper, and in turn, wide receiver Jacoby Myers wants out. It appears that contract talks have kind of hit a standstill. Jacoby Myers, former Patriot, kind of like one of the better slot receivers in the league. I would imagine he's in that top half, maybe even top 10. What do you make of all this Raiders stuff going down?
So first and foremost, we did talk about the Cleveland Browns quarterback situation that we had going in last time we talked, and obviously Kenny Pickett was a part of that conversation, but I believe it's because AOC ended up getting hurt. I believe he's done for the year, and that's why they traded for Kenny Pickett.
He's out at least a couple months. Let me look.
Exactly. And them bringing Amari Cooper in is because they are fully wanting to move on from Jacoby Myers. The thing is, though, that teams want the Raiders to pick up his $14 million pay. And the Raiders said they're not going to do that. So that's kind of like the standstill that we're getting into with that. Amari Cooper had a pretty decent, I would say, for the Bills last year, and coming back to the Raiders, that's actually a good move for them, especially with Geno Smith there at quarterback. A lot of people are criticizing the Geno Smith move, but I've said that, look, the dude led the league in completion percentage the last 2 years, and then the year prior before that, he led the league in passing. So I think getting him another weapon in Amari Cooper, I think it's just a good move, and then Kenny Pickett is just a solid backup.
Yeah, as far as Amari Cooper last year, he obviously got traded from the Browns to the Bills 6 games into the year. He finished with a little over 500, 600 yards, 4 touchdowns. Looks like 44 catches on 80-something targets. Certainly not the guy he used to be back in 2023, going for 1,000 yards and 5 touchdowns, or even back in the day in his prime when he was with the Raiders, going for 1,000 yards. The Cowboys.
Yep.
He's obviously on the wrong side of 30, 31 years old. But it's a guy that can fill in for Jacoby Myers when they eventually trade him. And I did look it up. AOC has a fractured wrist. He'll be out at least 6 to 8 weeks as it looks. And so they brought in Kenny Pickett just as a guy who's played in the NFL before, has won games, can more than adequately fill that spot where he couldn't in Cleveland with 2 higher upside rookies that they want to kind of focus in on while old man Joe Flacco takes the last little stab at it.
Exactly.
So yeah, the Raiders were active.
And we kind of felt this way too about Kenny Pickett, though, that we just felt that he was always going to be the second stringer, just kind of like what Jameis Winston is out there for the Giants. Like Jackson Dart is maybe labeled as the third stringer, but in reality, if Russell Wilson goes down, Jackson Dart's going in, and like Jameis is always the backup. Same thing with Kenny Pickett; he's always just the backup. So it's just a good move for the Raiders to have some sort of reassurance. And we kind of knew that this was going to happen with a lot of teams that have a lot of quarterbacks on their rosters. Same thing with like the Eagles. The Eagles carried a bunch of talented quarterbacks over there. And I believe also
And they cut our guy, Kyle McCord.
I love Kyle McCord too.
Oh, me too. I'm right there with you.
I just think that he was, but like the quarterback they had was their third stringer this year, the guy from Stanford.
Tanner McKee. Yep.
He was really good preseason wise too. And then you just knew that there was just not going to be enough. You're not going to carry that many players on the roster. Outside of that, speaking of quarterbacks, the Saints announced Spencer Rattler as QB1. And
yep, they told Tyler to get the shuck out of here. He's not ready.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, they're both going to see playing time this year. And we've talked about how bad the Saints are this year. All that cap manipulation they've been doing for the years has been absolutely terrible, and it's finally paying the price. Kellen Moore gets a free year, essentially, being a head coach and just evaluating talent. And I just think that neither one of these quarterbacks are the quarterbacks of the future for the Saints.
No, I would say it's pretty unlikely, and it's pretty likely that they'll finish in the top half of that draft order, if not the top 5, if not have the number 1 overall pick to get whatever quarterback they happen to entice to maybe come out of college. You never know with quarterbacks these days and how much money they're making in college. Some guys might be patient. All right. Now let's get into some contract stuff. First things first, Trey Hendrickson of the Cincinnati Bengals has ended his holdout, has not gotten the long-term deal he was looking for, but he gets $30 million per for 1 season. He'll be a free agent at the end of the year. This kind of kicks the can down the road for discussions and just gets him on the field as the Bengals need him most, because I believe they still haven't signed Shamar Stewart to his contract yet.
Nope.
And that defense is barren of talent. And now they get one of the better pass rushers in the league, if not like a top 5, top 3 pass rusher in football. This is a smart move for Hendrickson. Do the Bengals get more out of this than Hendrickson does, even if it's $30 million for a season? Like, what do you make of this? Obviously, we didn't really chat about the Hendrickson situation in our last episode because we just kind of assumed that this would come to an end. Sooner rather than later.
The thing is, it was just so awkward at first, right? Because he was sitting out and he was taking all these penalties for sitting out. Then he shows up to practice and then he's like, oh, well, I'm not negotiating with them because we're nowhere near the number. But it's like, but you came back though. Like your holdout was kind of like a non-factor at this point. And then now you only get a $14 million raise on your last, and which is a great payday for him. Granted, $30 million in 1 season is pretty nice. But I do think the Bengals are just looking at it this way in the sense of, yes, having a good pass rusher is really good, but like the rest of our defense is complete crap. And Trey Hendrickson, am I thinking that he is going to be a top 3 pass rusher again? Maybe this would be his last season of it, but you wouldn't think that like locking him down for like 4 years, even that like that's going to be a cap hit in which why their defense cannot be rebuilt, because they fully invested into their offense already. They did Joe Burrow, they did T. Higgins, they did Jamar. And I just think that after this year, Trey Hendrickson will not be a Bengal. I think that this is his last big pay raise with the Bengals, and then that's it.
So I'm an idiot. Shamar Stewart, wait, what?
Has he shown up to camp? That's the thing.
Yeah.
So he's already there.
Stewart to join Bengals as rookie reaches deal. This was a month ago. I don't know how this like flew under our radar. Like this was like one of the bigger stories.
But still, the main point of this is the Bengals defense is going to be like 26 to like 32 in the league. Like whether or not Trey Hendricks it signs on a long-term deal or not is just you're holding out the rest of the team from improving. Like, and the big reason why they haven't been good is because like ever since they lost Jesse Bates, at safety. Like they're
The secondary
back.
hasn't recovered.
Oh yeah, and their linebacker. I mean, they have Wilson, but that's about it. Other than that, I don't think that Hendrickson is gonna be seeing another contract with the Bengals. I think that's it.
If not because he's older and guys don't want to invest in older pass rushers, it's because the Bengals don't want to pay.
I mean, yeah. On top is two factors. You're on a notoriously cheap team, and on top of that, like he is plateauing right now on his talent. And but on top of that too, the biggest thing that he can argue is that outside of Myles Garrett and TJ Watt, he is third in sacks for I think like the last 3 years.
He's coming off back-to-back 17 and a half sack years.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And 14 and 13 and a half in 2020 and 2021.
Mm-hmm. So he's, like I said, eventually this production is going to come down. The Bengals are just counting that this may be like a 13 sack season, and they're going to be like, there we go. Like, we're not signing you again. Like, that's it.
Another contract with figures above $30 million.
Oh,
Terry
yeah.
McLaurin ends his hold in, I guess we want to call it. Signs a 3-year, $96 million deal to stay with the Washington Commanders. Jaden Daniels gets his safety blanket back. All seems good in the nation's capital, football wise. What do you think of this? We all like the Hendrickson thing. I feel like we both kind of assumed that this was going to end the way it did. Terry getting a deal, and we're all just going to move about. No big deal.
Yeah, it's the thing is with this one was Terry McLaurin. This is his last big contract he's seeing for the rest of his career. He's not going to be in. Washington's also under a new ownership group as well too, and this is their first big contract negotiating that they're dealing with, and this kind of sets the precedent of what the rest of their ownership is going to look at. The fact that they didn't cave in, they met in the middle. They gave him essentially what? That's 30, 33 a year. No, 32 a year, which was in the middle of what they wanted. I believe they were going to give him like 29. That's what it's saying. And he was asking for 35. And there you go. On 3 years. And by those 3 years, right? And because it's an extension, I believe it's not like a new contract.
Right.
So it's 4 years from now, which guess what that means? That's Jaden Daniels. What? That'd be his 5th-year option year. So,
and you're going to sign him to an extension if you want to keep him at that point.
Yeah, and then and that's where Terry McLaurin's production will probably decrease by then, and then Jaden Daniels' contract situation is going to be up, and so you're about to get off the books on Terry, and then you're going right into Jaden Daniels. So it's really smart move by the Commanders on this one, especially to invest while you have a young quarterback.
Isn't it crazy to like see this Washington Commanders team like make smart football decisions after years and years and years of the Snyder ownership?
The craziest part is about this is that Jaden Daniels will be the first time ever that a Washington football team has had back-to-back starters since Kirk Cousins, like starting week 1. Be the first time ever.
First time since Kirk Cousins they've had different week 1 starters.
Yep.
That's insane to think about.
Yep. They've never had the same week 1 starter since Kirk Cousins left, I believe.
Somebody put Jaden Daniels in bubble wrap for like the next week.
Better hope. Better hope. But yeah, no, good deal. I give that like a solid A deal for them, especially and also history has shown that when you have a young quarterback and you give them a wideout, that it always works out best. It happened with Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill. It happened with Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. It happened. I mean, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase kind of came at the same time. Same with T. Higgins. So that's like a little bit different.
Tua and Tyreek when we all thought Tua was really good.
Yep. The one team, ironically, throughout that process that didn't do it when they had a young quarterback was Deshaun Watson when he was with the Texans. They got rid of this best quarterback. I mean, best wide receiver at that time. They got rid of Hopkins, and they didn't surround him with no weapons. So I just think
Justin Herbert's kind of going through that right now.
And that's a little bit unfortunate because like when they're cheap and young, that's when you need to go get the big weapon, give them on a 3-year contract just like this and be like, all right, when it's time to sign this dude to a big extension, this wide receiver is probably done for already.
Now
Well,
Herbert's got to pair up with guys like Lad McConkey and Trey
yeah.
Harris and the corpse of Keenan Allen. Not that Lad
Yeah.
McConkey is a bad receiver, but it's not the type of receiver you want to give your superstar young franchise quarterback. Like now it feels like the Chargers kind of missed the window on that, and now they got to build the team.
Like, you know
some
what
other way.
would have been awesome, and it probably would have gone against maybe, I don't know, your Joe Burrow pick, but if T. Higgins would have walked, that would have been a sick team for the Chargers to get.
Absolutely. Like it would have been what you wanted Quentin Johnston to do.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Shout out to Quentin Johnston. I don't know how he's still in the league.
That is, what was it that I called him? I called him Kevin White 2.0. If people don't remember Kevin White from West Virginia.
I loved him.
Yeah, everybody did. And I just said, this dude from TCU is the same thing. I have seen this movie before. You're just a big height, weight, speed kind of guy with not that much productivity, like at all career wise. And then all of a sudden, you're supposed to be like the second coming of like Megatron. No, like stop it.
I had a bad case of the dropsies for a long time.
What a shot Kevin White did too. So
Kevin White couldn't stay on the field either.
yeah, exactly.
I'm going to save this next one for last. So let's keep going down the list. More wide receivers. Rashee Rice caught a 6-game suspension from the league. This was after a very intense and almost public dispute between the NFL and the NFLPA. The NFL wanted to give him 10 games for that street racing incident.
Yeah, the street racing hit and run, I believe, right? And
yeah, so the not to get into all the legality details that I don't want to get wrong in case that somebody important is watching. But essentially Rashee Rice was in a motor vehicle contest on the highway, I believe, caused an accident. Nobody was killed, thank God. And he straight up kind of just left the scene. No real second thought, just got into somebody else's car and left. And this has just been a back and forth between the league and the PA. The league wanted to give him 10 games. The PA said you're out of your mind. And we ended up getting to 6 games. So Gerardo, does the punishment fit the crime? Where do you kind of fall on this spectrum without getting too into the weeds on it? Like, what are kind of your general thoughts? And how does this affect the Chiefs this year? Because Mahomes already doesn't have a ton of weapons to work with across that offense. Travis Kelce is getting older and a little more occupied, as we'll get to a little bit later.
Yes.
Xavier Worthy is a nice player. He's not Tyreek Hill by any means. I don't think he'd be the wide receiver one if Rashee Rice was available. And then I can't even name their third receiver.
Yeah,
so,
they got rid of.
What do you make of this?
So with this, I mean, I really do think that when it comes to the NFL, when it comes to suspending players, the longer you kind of fight with them, the worse they're going to kind of make it. So like, I'm not one to judge of what this type of incident, like what reflects on that type of punishment. I do not know what like the true details of it, but I do think that sometimes the NFL does get a bit petty. Like if you keep I don't know if the NFLPA was like, oh, he shouldn't get no suspension. Like if they said that, the NFL's like, no.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Yeah. Guess what? We were going to be okay with 2 games, but now you're getting 6. Like that's how they kind of reflect that. But I think when we talked about it in our preview show that I don't really care who the wide receivers are for Patrick Mahomes are at this point. It's just Patrick Mahomes. Like he's in this like realm right now where it does not matter who's catching the ball from him. At the end of the day, it's still Patrick Mahomes. He has been great without great wide receivers. He has won Super Bowls without great wide receivers. Yes, him and Tyreek Hill and him and Travis Kelce had unbelievable chemistry.
Ooh, boy, this wide receiver room is kind of is rough.
Yeah, because they also got rid of another top receiver they had. He was wearing number 24. I think it was like Sky Moore. They also got rid of him. He's no longer there.
Little gadget guy. They got Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Tyquan Thornton.
Yeah. But
I don't know how you feel about Jalen Royals coming out of the draft this year, but he's there too.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, like I said, I think it doesn't really that matter. Like Rashee Rice wasn't moving the needle as is. Like he isn't the end all be all. So I just still think that I still have the Chiefs winning the division or not losing to the Broncos like at 13 games and they take a loss here and there. Like I think they're fully on revenge tour this year. I fully believe that. I think that the Chiefs are just like, yeah, like they're the new NFL bad guys. Like they're kind of getting into that realm in their dynasty where they are just like everybody doesn't like us anymore. The whole like it's funny because they have like so many different storylines, right? You had the super fan that was Robin Banks. You also had this Rashid Rice thing going on. You have Travis Kelsey and the Swifties, like that whole thing. And people just don't like winners, consistent winners. We love you when you're an underdog. But the moment you win too much, and now my favorite team can't win no more, then it's a problem. And I think that's in the realm that we're getting into because me and you also even talk about this. Sometimes we even see discussions of like Andy Reid can't win a Super Bowl without Patrick Mahomes. We are now into those discussions of like, is Andy Reid that good of a head coach without Patrick Mahomes, or is
Feels like
Patrick Mahomes?
we're on like a 20-year cycle of these things, doesn't it?
Mhm. Yeah, and that's what happens with dynasties is that eventually people are going to doubt you, which they should, and then you have to prove the doubters again and again and again. And I think that this is just a Chiefs going back to the Super Bowl this year, and we're all going to be not surprised. And whether they win or lose this time, probably against the Eagles or whoever it may be, then we're going to see like we're eventually going to get into the conversation of like, all right, if you just hate him, it's because you're just a hater, not because you're objectively like saying any statistical fact that Patrick Mahomes is not a good quarterback. No, he is the cream of the crop.
Eventually the Patrick Mahomes sucks thing just kind of turns into like this childish,
Yeah,
like,
you're just not a Chiefs fan. I get it,
what are
but
you
yeah,
gonna
mm-hmm,
do? All right, we'll keep it Chief style. Travis Kelsey and Taylor Swift announced their engagement this week.
mm-hmm.
We hopped on that bandwagon, shouting out
Oh
their
yeah, of
new
course.
shouting out their new engagement. Hopefully, they send the EU guys an invitation, at least to the after party. Um, yeah, and like this just kind of took social media by storm, as these two kind of do. I mean, every celebrity posting something about it. The NHL, which has like nothing to do with the Kansas City Chiefs, with Taylor Swift, with Travis Kelsey, they posted their congratulations.
I think
Um,
what this does, and this is where I'm going to talk about the whole Taylor Swift and NFL thing. Um, am I a fan of Taylor Swift's music? Absolutely not.
Not really, not for me.
Does not resonate with me. That doesn't mean that I don't think she's incredibly successful. But what I will say is that this does garner new viewership and new people to get invested into the NFL. And that ultimately is a win for the NFL.
This is their golden ticket to get to that women demographic they struggled with for basically our entire lives.
Yep. And on top of that too, I mean like they are on a how do I say this? They're obviously she's dating somebody who's on a very incredibly successful team. Also, Travis Kelsey's a wonderful human being on and off the field, and he has his own podcast and all that other stuff. He's part of a great family of football players too. So it isn't like Taylor Swift just dating some dude in the NFL. It's somebody who actually is a going to be a Hall of Famer in his career.
He's in
Who
talks
has
already for greatest tight end of all time. Like,
Yeah. And so in on top of it too, like it's kind of like this thing of how I feel about like when Elvis was out there. Elvis was both selling I love Elvis t-shirts and I hate Elvis t-shirts. At the end of the day, if you love a team or you hate a team, you're watching the team. And that's all the NFL cares about. And I think that's a wonderful thing for that relationship. And everybody's going to chime into it because this is the closest thing to a royal wedding that
I was about to say, this is America's royal couple.
Oh yeah. But the funniest meme out of this, the number one thing that I got was 100% Travis was going to propose at the Super Bowl. That I fully think that this
Had
was
they
going.
won, yep.
Oh yeah. Like the only reason why they delayed it this long is because they got waxed. Like honest to God. Like I fully believed that he was going to propose and it was going to be a huge like and granted that was going to be the only time that it would have been bigger than right now was that Super Bowl. Like he would have gone on his knee and then proposed to Taylor Swift. And then Like it would have been he would have probably either thought about retiring or officially. This is also probably, I think, his last season.
Think so?
I mean, the dude didn't hit 1,000 yards last year. He was very underproductive last year. And if he touches like barely 700 yards this year,
As
like
the only receiver on that team.
that's what I'm saying. And I think that, yeah, I think the Eagles kind of ruined his moment this year. I fully believe that he was going to
brutal.
propose.
I
But
know who's not getting an invite. It's Howie Roseman.
that or any of the other, what was it? Or Cooper DeJean is probably not getting one, or any of the other Eagle players. But at the end of the day, the only Eagle player that will be there is the Kelsey brother. So it's not like the Eagles won't be in the house. So, but congratulations to them. Unbelievably wonderful couple. They are, from all instances, I have nothing bad to say about them at all.
Nope. Won't catch that here. More wide receiver stuff. I guess we could have gone either way.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Thielen has reunited with the Minnesota Vikings, hometown kid from Minnesota State or something like that. Spent his basically the most of his career in Minnesota with the Vikings as a very productive wide receiver. The only wide receiver Bill Belichick hated. And yeah, he goes to Carolina for a little bit, helps mentor Bryce Young over there, and now it's like, okay, time to come home. The Vikings send a 5th and a 6th rounder for Thielen. They get back a package of late round picks. I believe it's like a 6 and a 7 in the future or something like that. But Adam Thielen comes back home, pairs up with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison when he comes back, fits right in.
Oh,
Once
yeah.
more, JJ McCarthy has no excuses.
Oh, 100%. And then on top of that, this just goes down like the list of the Raiders got back Amari Cooper, the Chargers got back Keenan Allen, and then, Adam Thielen came back to Minnesota. And this also just a move that we kind of figured that with Addison being suspended, that you got to get somebody who's probably relatively familiar within that scheme, who's going to help out. And then when Addison comes back, that Thielen's just going to go right into the slot. Like, it's a good fit. So it was a good draft capital to get back for him too. Like, I think also, like, if you're getting him for a 5th and a 6th rounder, a package of late practice, he probably is going to get cut. If you're coming off with like that, like they were probably not.
It was like a weird situation because Carolina was kind of over his contract.
Mm-hmm,
And they felt like they couldn't really get out of it. And they knew
mm-hmm.
Minnesota wanted him like back, so they dragged them over the coals to get what they got, that
Oh
4th and
yeah,
5th.
they were going to move on from him. I fully believe. Like they were like, "Hey, bro, it's either you go for a 7th or bye."
And they
Like
actually got more.
exactly, and I think they kind of guilt tripped the Vikings on that one. But good for them. I think it's a solid move for both parties around. And also on top of that, I think the Panthers are in a really interesting spot because they're investing a lot on young guys on the wide receiver position. And I do like the dude out of South Carolina with the
Leggett,
lovely accent, but I
David
am not
Leggett,
a
yeah.
fan of Ted. I am not a fan of Ted.
Nope,
And
we've gone over that story.
yeah. And I think this losing a veteran guy in Adam Thielen, like a very consistent dude, he may not be what he was back in Minnesota, but at the end of the day, you can at least count on him for Bryce Young.
He's a
Bryce,
guy he's a guy who's going to catch 20, 30, 40 balls
mhm.
and not say a word as he gets drilled. Like
Exactly. And now you are struggling with a guy who doesn't watch tape and a second year guy.
and Jalen
Like,
Coker, if
yeah.
you want to shout him out.
Yeah. Like I just think that it's not a good recipe for the Panthers again this year.
Nope, people might be buying into that stock a little too early.
Yes.
But JJ McCarthy is the big winner out of this one, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you almost kind of say not because of how we feel about pressurizing with him. Like, it's like, dude, we have gave you everything to not fail. If you fail, like, what are we doing here?
I kind of want to spend a second on the Minnesota Vikings because if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
This has been kind of like bubbling over certain circles that I'm in. A lot of hot discussions talking about the Minnesota Vikings. Now, I had them going 10-7, making the
Mm-hmm.
playoffs. You had them going 5-12, missing the playoffs. And there is a certain sect of fans that somehow like look at not thinking the Vikings are going to be really good this year as absolutely blasphemous. And I don't get it. Number one being, they want to talk about, oh, we won 14 games with Sam Darnold. Was that because your team was awesome and Sam Darnold proved that he could be a starting quarterback in the NFL? Or did the Vikings so awesome that they could put me and you back there and they would have won 14 games?
Yeah.
I
What?
tend to believe the former over the latter on
Mhm.
that. Why is it unreasonable to kind of, I don't want to say assume, why is it unreasonable to project that JJ McCarthy could struggle in his first real NFL action against real NFL defenses? As you pointed out time and time again, he's a guy who doesn't really have a ton of volume in the college game. He doesn't throw a ton. He doesn't like, the volume and the capacity doesn't go up with him. It's stayed relatively the same. He's been, I don't want to say game manager because that has a negative context and a negative kind of
Mhm.
perception when you say stuff like that. Like you say game manager, you're thinking Derek Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo. And that's not quite what I'm getting at. But he's a guy, he's a bus passenger. He's not a bus driver. He's not going to be the
Mhm.
guy who's backpacking you all the way to the promised land. Um, and I don't get why it's so unreasonable to say, hey, the Vikings could only win 5, 6, 7 games this year because their quarterback doesn't have the necessary experience to win at the level that that you need. And like I just don't get it. Why are we talking about the Vikings like they're the '07 Patriots? Um,
Yeah. Here's the thing about that. So let's look at the two former quarterbacks that were successful with the Vikings. We had Kirk Cousins and we had Sam Darnold, both under KOC, right?
mhm.
So
Well, how many years? Okay, how many years did Kirk get with KOC?
one, I believe, and then he got shipped, right?
It was, I guess, see, Kirk Cousin. When was Kevin O'Connell hired? Kevin
2 years ago.
O'Connell
So
hired
he had Kirk's last year in Minnesota, and then he had Sam Darnold.
2022. Yeah, that was the year that the Vikings like won. That was the year the 31-0 comeback against
Mhm.
Indianapolis. Yeah, like Kirk was there and he had a pretty good
So
year in 2022, didn't he?
yes. So put it this way: throughout Kirk's Cousins' history since college, you have seen that level of play of Kirk.
4,500 yards and 29 touchdowns for Kirk
Okay,
Cousins.
so there we go. Now,
13-4.
so Kirk Cousins, you have seen him consistently through his career, whether it's in college at Michigan State or when he was with the former Washington team. He has shown poise that he takes risk, that he has been a reason why those teams have won games since he was in college. Sam Darnold did the same thing at USC. You saw him literally beat Penn State with Saquon Barkley at the end. He has that dog mentality of winning games, being ballsy. He even showed some of that with the Jets. And mind you, how
He played
dysfunctional.
he played admirably well with a Panthers team
Exactly.
that was borderline one of the worst teams in football and ended up being the worst team in football when he
So
left.
they have consistently shown that since college. What has JJ McCartney shown me since high school? He was part of the IMG Academy, who's filled with what? 5 stars on top of 5 stars on top of 5 stars. That means he gets hard carried all the time. He went to a Michigan team who literally was hard carried. He had to do nothing. He had to literally just hand the ball off and play simple. He has never shown any decisive, this extreme decision making to go against the grain on any of his since high school. He has never had a, how do I say this? He's never had to go through any type of adversity as well. Too. He was literally handed the torch because Cade McNamara sucked at Michigan. And they're like, all right, well, here you go, JJ. You're the 5 star quarterback. You're the prince that was promised at Michigan. All you
And
have to do
here,
is not.
and I'll add this. I don't want to confuse can't and haven't.
Yes. I
There's no
haven't seen him.
I don't want to say that JJ McCarthy cannot do what Sam Darnold, Kirk Cousins did and lead this Vikings team to 13 wins and two vastly different Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings with Kirk had a miserable defense that year, and
Mhm.
he played out of his mind.
Yeah.
This Vikings team was pretty well rounded, and Sam Darnold
But also,
resurrected his
like,
career.
here's also the thing with that, right? Like you were saying that we just haven't seen him do this historically. We've literally not seen him in high school do it. We never seen him do it in college. What makes me think I'm gonna see it in the NFL? Trend shows me that he won't.
Well,
And
the fact that you will know, I think is
exactly,
what I'm trying to get
we
at.
will literally know this year who JJ McCarthy is. And then on top of that is that the big thing about Sam Darnold was the number one thing was about him in that locker room is that so many people wanted to win for him. People were winning because of the bust label that was thrown on him. The fact that he fought tooth and nail for that. Like he was making it a job against JJ his rookie season. And then him getting hurt, like, yeah, and then they just want to play even more for him. And you got rid of that. And some players may feel some type of way of like, man, bro, you got rid of my dude Sam. Which, mind you, they had the capital space to sign him and keep him. Like the Vikings
At the
literally.
same at the same time, we can also pitch that, oh hey, maybe him crapping himself those last that last month of the year didn't help.
Yeah, sure. Well, yeah, but at the same time, it's like at least he got you to that point of the season. We may not know if JJ can even get to them. And that's what I'm saying. Like he it's like you said, I just think that we just haven't seen it from him. Literally didn't see it in Michigan, didn't see it in high school. So what makes me think it's like, for instance, what's a quarterback that's like that would be like the backup for the Bears? Oh, he can win an MVP. Why? Well, no, I mean, he's never shown that he could be an MVP, but why
Mac
not?
Jones could win a Super Bowl because he
Yeah,
played very well at Alabama.
because that is the same type of logic those fans are having about JJ. It's, oh, well, Mac Jones has never shown to me that he can win a game in his career. He's just shown that he is part of a winning team. He is not the win of the team, the reason why the team won.
I
So
I can name I
I can
can
name
name
so
one
many.
Mac Jones signature win in his
Exactly.
career. It was the 2023. He came back on the Bills, had a nice little touchdown drive that really stunned them at the end. Other than that, his signature win is handing the ball off 3 times in the win against Buffalo.
What, and that's what I'm saying. What is the difference between JJ and Mac Jones? What's the difference? Like, so that it's the same thing as if the Patriots when they got Mac Jones. Oh, why
Narrative
can't we?
wise, I don't want to say talent wise because I think J.J.
Yeah.
McCarthy
No.
is
Yeah.
much more talented than Mac Jones
Yeah.
ever
That's what I'm
was.
saying. Narrative wise, it's just Mac Jones historically throughout his recruitment process and even when he was in Alabama did not show me that he could win games like that. So why all of a sudden I'm just going to assume that he can do it in the NFL? Why?
People did, and they were wrong, myself included.
Yeah, so I fully agree with it's not to say that we want him to not be successful. It's just saying that
Okay,
based on
no, don't speak for me. There are some J.J. McCarthy truthers that do kind of make me prey on the downfall, but
no, but it's me and you are just being objective about it is the fact that JJ
explicitly unbiased. That's what we're being.
exactly that we've never seen him be play like that before. What makes me think that he's going to all of a sudden do it? Like historically I said that was just going to happen. Like no. I he would be an outlier, just like how I kind of said about Anthony Richardson, what I said about CJ Stroud, and what I said about Bryce Young. That historically speaking, no quarterback at that size and that frame from Bryce Young has historically been successful in the NFL. No Ohio State quarterback has ever made it to the Pro Bowl, ever in the NFL, and no quarterback with less than 19 starts in college football has ever been successful in the NFL. So that's not a wrong assumption for me to make when, since the history of the league, none of those has ever happened. So since, I don't know, since what JJ was and how he's always been, nothing historically shows to me that he will lead the league in passing all of a sudden this year because he has Jets and because those same Vikings fans probably didn't think Sam Darnold was going to throw for almost four G's. Like, come on now. Let's be a little bit more realistic. That's why, I mean, I'm just the more pessimistic side of it and saying he's 5-11. But yeah.
That was my PSA. I was just kind of getting annoyed by certain sects of the
I think
internet.
I think if you were going to ask me what is the most annoying narrative heading into the NFL season, it's that one.
It's assuming the Vikings are going to be good.
Yes, assuming that to assume that they could win 10 like it's like they're the Chiefs, right? Like come on now. Like you cannot guarantee, and also on top of that, the whole stat was it 2 to 4 teams don't make it back to the playoffs next year. They are a team I fully believe that may not make it back to the playoffs this year.
No, they're one of the favorites for those 2 out of 14.
100%.
Yeah, so that's my rant against that certain sector of the internet. I hope that becomes a clip and people see it and get mad at it. All right, did I have one more thing? Okay, yeah. Speaking of the Patriots, they've made a series of cuts today and yesterday. They cut their 2022 first round pick, Cole Strange. They cut 2024 fourth round pick, Javon Baker, and they cut 2021 acquisition, recently given an extension. I want to say in the last year and a half, they gave him a 3-year contract. Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne did ask for his release, wanted a fresh start, and the Patriots granted it to him. And yeah, the massive overhaul out in New England is still kind of underway. They did pick up a QB3 of a very popular name. You might know him, Gerardo. His name is Tommy DeVito.
Oh, yeah. His agent's the most famous person.
Yeah, Tommy Cutlets is QB3 down in Foxborough. But yeah, this Patriots roster overhaul seems to be only just beginning.
And it's to be expected from a guy like Mike Vrabel. He is going to find out who the people who will want to win for that team and who don't. And if I see all those people getting cut by Mike Vrabel, I feel like they just didn't want to win.
Javon Baker was notorious for kind of being a practice warrior.
Yeah, so I
Never
think
really showed up in games, had a big mouth in practice.
oh yeah. And I think Mike Vrabel, I mean, this is the dude who bullied Tom
And Cole
Brady.
Strange just kind of sucked.
Yeah. So this, I mean, your head coach, like the Patriots head coach, is the one that bullied Tom Brady. Like this is the dude who knows what a dog is. I mean, he completely flipped a inept Titans franchise around completely.
And now they're back on their head.
Exactly, and so I'm. It's one of the coaches that I fully trust on who's a real dude and who ain't. And if the Patriots, and also they had a really good offseason, this is probably part of that plan all along.
Yeah, there's certainly an argument to that, but I'm also I'm kind of watching the late stages of this preseason, the early stages of this season. Seeing moves like this still kind of like being done, like cutting Cole Strange, releasing Kendrick Bourne, that probably should have been done a couple of months ago. Um, there's just something in me that doesn't feel right about that, and maybe this is just like looking at the Patriots over the last couple years. I mean, you had dysfunction all over with Gerard Mayo last year. You had dysfunction with Bill Belichick at the end. Uh, Stories that a lot of people don't know about that I could go on for ages for no known reason. Um, and it's just like something has me feeling a little uneasy about that. Waiting so long to make those moves when need Baker. I mean, Baker probably had a chance to make the team as a fourth round pick last year. Cole Strange, we know that he hasn't been good. They tried him at center at the last game last year. Wasn't really all that good. Kendrick Bourne had all offseason to ask for his release. Um, and I'm assuming they tried to trade him because he's not a terrible receiver by any means. You could probably get a Thielen-ish haul for him. Um, I don't know. Something just says maybe I was a little strong with 10 wins and I should be a little more like 8-9, 9-8.
No, yeah, I mean, like I said, I trust Vrave's process throughout that. So I think that these are guys that were like
Doesn't move
fighting.
anything for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I ultimately, if you would have cut them before he showed up or the day before the game, I'd have been like, okay, he just doesn't believe in those guys. Like he probably gave those guys based on the list. These are guys that he gave benefit of the doubt. That's the reason why they lasted as long as they did. And then he's like, all right, I'm gonna wait till the very end to find out if you got a dog in you. And then he found out at the very end. He goes, ain't no dog in them. Bye. I think that's ultimately the decision that was probably made and how he went about it.
Well, they're all ears ahead to week 1 against Las Vegas. They're opening at home for the. I don't want. They didn't open at home last year. They didn't do it the year before. No, yes, they did. They opened against the Eagles after they lost Super Bowl against Kansas City. That was Tom Brady's kind of like first game he showed up to New England after retirement.
Oh yeah.
They had a huge celebration for him. So I'm like, yeah, this is the first time in a couple of years the Patriots have hosted Week 1. So we'll see what happens against the Raiders. But different Week 1 kind of going down this week. But before we get to that, Gerardo, you prepped. I hear it took a lot of man hours to kind of get this through.
Oh my god, yeah. Don't get me
You
started.
set up a little bracket that you kind of want to share with the class here, talking about what could be coming this college football season. I'm gonna let you kind of take it away. You did this all on your lonesome. Didn't invite me to the party.
Well,
Just like
it's
Taylor Swift didn't invite us to the wedding.
yeah, so essentially I did a playoff picker for college football, except I picked like thousands of games, it almost felt like. And like what I really wanted, it was the ultimate result. What I got here, it's kind of like all the teams that I would have probably picked. And so number one team was Bama by the end of the season. Then it was Clemson, Oregon, Arizona State at 4, UT at 5, Notre Dame 6, Miami at 7, Ohio State at 8, Penn State at 9, UGA at 10, 11 Georgia Tech, and 12 Boise State. That's how it all ended up unfolding. Now, what I want to break down from that are true contenders from that, like actual national championship caliber teams, somewhat national championship caliber teams, like if you 50-50 on these guys. And then the last ones I think are like
so you put them in a tier
25%.
list, basically.
They sent yes. So the
So
true, I think
let's go from the bottom. Let's go for the bottom. Who are the guys that
I
you
do not
could?
believe in
Who's the guys that you like? Oh, they made it, but they're probably gonna get the SMU treatment in round 1 and get smoked.
Arizona State, Georgia Tech, Boise State, and Miami.
Well,
Uh,
let's start here with Georgia Tech. I mean, them being ranked 11th is a huge jump for them. What are you kind of seeing with that program?
Haynes King is a really legitimate starter in college football. He's an elite level college football quarterback. On top of that, too, this is a team that should have beat Georgia last year. And that Georgia team is the same. And also that Georgia team was what the one we are seeing right now, too. It isn't like the Georgia team that had the Carson Beck situation. That is the Gunnar Stockton, like Georgia team. Like that is a really good Georgia team. And the fact that Georgia Tech should have won that game. And Georgia Tech is always known as I would say like a giant killer. Like throughout their years, they have always been like, even though they may end up like 6-6 back then or 7-6, they always somehow beat a top 5 team every year. And I think this year would be the year that they finally get the recognition that they deserve. And actually, they have a very favorable matchup throughout the ACC. Um, and in the ACC, funny enough, because talk about it, like Bill Belichick also has a cakewalk of a season this year for the ACC. I think the ACC is a very outside of Clemson, like very winnable for a second tier team out there. That's why I also have 3 of them in there. That's why there's Miami even in this situation.
Losing
Miami.
Cam Ward, losing Xavier Restrepo, losing Damian Martinez.
The thing is though is
I don't know if Damian Martinez was all that important to them last year,
but a Mario Cristobal team is still good in the trenches. They are probably still the best offensive and defensive line in the ACC. They are going to beat you up. They got kind of that Big Ten level swagger of like grounded and pounded. Like they're just bigger dudes than all of y'all, than everybody else in the ACC. And the ACC is not really that big of a, how do I say it? They're not like the SEC or the Big Ten, where they're like, it's more of a finesse league almost.
like what the
And
Pac-12 used to be.
and to be fair, Carson Beck isn't a talented quarterback. He is very talented. The reason why he's a 5-star guy. So it's the thing is, I think he fits Miami's offense a lot better than he did at Georgia's. And I think that is a good move for Miami to go from Cam Ward to him. Like that is a very good move in college football. Do I think Carson Beck's not a good NFL prospect? No, but do I think he's an immensely talented college football player? Yes. And I think that they are just a little bit too talented all around him for them to not win the matchups that they have placed up against them. But I'm still not sold on that too, because Carson Beck kind of the whole leaving college to go to your girlfriend's college is kind of weird for me. I can't sell that with your biggest leader, man. But in college football, you kind of can get away with that to an extent. You kind of can. In the NFL, I'm not. That's
I'm
not a
surprised
quarterback.
he didn't transfer to UNC. I feel like him and Belichick would have gotten along pretty well.
Oh, I'm absolutely 100%. Other teams on there are Boise State because they're a really talented team and they don't play
No Ashton
nobody.
Genty. Who's your blue chip talent that's going to drag you there?
So because the other team that I have on there is also Arizona State, and they would say,
That's a team. Arizona State is a team that I am really fascinated with.
mhm.
Sam Levitt, I was super impressed with last year.
It
Just
will be the first time the Big 12 has a repeat champion since like a long time. It will
and
be like,
they were a really good team last year. They kind of rode the coattails of Cam Scatabo a little bit, but Sam Levitt is a more than serviceable college quarterback. The receiver, I believe his name is Jordan Tyson. Super
legitimate
impressive.
prospect, legitimate
Super
prospect,
impressive.
but
They
also
have
with
a
Cam.
nice little backfield with depth. I'd just be a little concerned about pass rush, and this like Big 12 defense is always just a big concern.
Mhm.
But they have tools on offense, and they have a legitimate college football quarterback, and that's going to get you far. That
Yes.
defense is going to get beaten around a little bit by the bigger teams when we get to the playoffs. But is anybody really worried about that Big 12 schedule? Like
Ever since GT,
Arizona
yeah,
State
ever
should run
since
through them.
GT and Oklahoma left, it doesn't matter. Like they are going to kind of walk into it. Their biggest threat was Kansas State, and Kansas State lost to Iowa State. So, like, and right now it's what them and Texas Tech, really. And Texas Tech, we already talked about the $55 million NIL investment that they've made on their team. So that's also super unproven. You know what is proven? Arizona State. They've won before. They retain everybody, and all the running backs combined will be better than what Cam Scatabo was last year.
I think Cam Scatabo was an awesome like college story.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Super fun to follow, super fun to watch. I mean, that Sugar Bowl game was super impressive.
Oh my God, yeah, one of the
Um,
most impressive jobs by a single individual player.
I don't think
Like,
he's going to be a great NFL back by any means, but
mm-mm.
he's going to be a guy who hangs around because he realized what his position was, running back. Like it reminds me a lot of like Tebow, like
Oh yeah,
what Tebow should have done after playing college football for Florida. After the Broncos situation where he led them to the playoffs, but it was obvious like that arm is not an NFL arm. He
mm-hmm.
should have transferred to tight end, fullback, running back. He would have had a pretty good career.
Oh yeah,
I don't want to say like, Pro Bowls and All Pros and MVPs and awards. He would have stuck around the NFL a lot longer than he did.
oh
Um,
100%.
and Scadabo's gonna have a pretty similar. He's gonna stick around the league for a lot longer. He's gonna be a coach's kid. Um, he's gonna be a guy who sticks around. But this Arizona State team, I don't think they're gonna miss him too much.
No, I think almost hardly at all. Honestly, I think that the running backs that they have together this year equals to what he is, if not better.
I mean, there's Udo and Brown is a nice little flashy scat
Mm-hmm.
back. Um, and their tight end guy, what's his name, Mateer,
Yep.
super impressive as well. Like the defense is certainly a concern, and it's going to cause them problems as they get into like super serious games. I don't have
Yep.
their schedule off the top of my head, but I
Yeah, I
believe
think
in
that
Sam
it's the
Levitt,
most
and I believe
non.
in Kenny Dillingham as a
Oh
college
yeah, first of
quarterback,
all,
college
Kenny
coach
Dillingham is a
tandem.
legit coach, like a legit coach, and the fact that he not only that he was highly sought after by other major programs, he stayed. His whole coaching staff stayed, and that means a lot to me in college football because usually when a team like as well as they did last year, they almost beat UT. That means every other how many like how many different teams are in college football? Those coaches were going to
I
get
don't know.
picked
You
up.
picked all the games. You tell me.
Way too many. But regardless, like the fact that there's so many jobs available year in and year out, that the fact that he retained his whole staff, retained about over 75% of his squad is still there. Like, I think they're a legitimate team, but I just don't think they're a college football, like national championship. Um, then we move on to the teams that are like 50-50 on UGA, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Penn State.
All
Ohio
right,
State is
let's
because
break
of
it
their
down. Ohio
quarterback.
State.
Yeah. Ohio State is their quarterback situation. They have the best player in the country at wide receiver. Like, that dude's insane.
Was his name Jeremiah Smith?
Yeah. Stupid good. Penn State is just Penn State. They can't win the big one. Like, until proven otherwise, I'm not going to believe that they can win the big one. Notre Dame, Saint, I don't know. I've just never been in Notre Dame. Like, since they got waxed by Bama, since they lost this national championship to Ohio State, it seems that that's been the narrative from them as well too.
Kind of
That
playoff chokers.
not playoff chokers, they're just national championship chokers. They can get to the ship. It's just, can they win it? And also, when these four big teams that I'm going to talk about, you're going to know why they're natty contenders. They're also starting a new quarterback this year. That's always a little bit worrisome for me.
Especially after a guy like Riley Leonard, who was around
Exactly.
for as long as he was.
Mm-hmm. UGA, they're like almost like in between those two tiers. Their wide receiver room's stupid good. That's their best. They said that's their best unit on that squad is their wide receivers.
I believe it.
But the SEC is just too deep. Like, and going into it, like, Bama's dumb talented this year. The best comparison that I heard was Ty Simpson is going to be their new quarterback. Now, you're losing the big playability with the legs from their what was their former quarterback that's now with
Jalen
the Seahawks.
Milroe.
So, but you also, Ty Simpson has a higher floor but lower ceiling as a college football prospect, in which with this Bama team is what you want. You just kind of want the dude to distribute the ball really good, and they're an extremely talented team as well too. UT, same thing. The only thing is just if this is Arch Manning's first full season now. That's literally their only concern. He had a higher floor and ceiling than Ewers, but Ewers just had way more experience in that aspect. Oregon is a stupidly good team. Now, a lot of people are going to be talking about, well, Gerard, you talk about first year starting quarterbacks. Why do I not have concerns about Oregon? So Dante Moore is going to be their starting quarterback this year. Dante Moore sat out last year because they brought in Dylan Gabriel in. And the year beforehand, if you remember, that Dante Moore was the starting quarterback at UCLA. Dante Moore, for those who don't know, was the quarterback that was tied or above Arch Manning on his rankings coming out of high school. He is immensely talented. This is going to be Oregon's best ever quarterback since like Mariota and Bo Nix and Herbert. Like, we are talking about that level of talent. And you are telling me that Oregon finally gets that talent. Like, I think he's better than Bo Nix was, like, in physical talent. And that team is really, really good. The only losses that they had was Dylan Gabriel, really. Like, that defense is still nasty. That offense is still nasty. I mean, this is a team that beat Ohio State last year, right? Am I correct on that? Did they beat
That
Ohio?
sounds familiar. I'll look it up.
Did they win by 1 point last year against them? Was it 33-32?
Yes, 32-31.
There you go. And they,
in October, and then Ohio State waxed him in the playoff.
Mm-hmm. But I think Dante Moore just brings so much more than Dylan Gabriel did. Like, and I also think, looking at that could be my big Heisman sleeper is Dante Moore. I think he's immensely talented, and he sat behind that offense because that's the biggest difference too, is that Dylan Gabriel only had one season. Bo Nix I believe he only had one season with that coaching staff. And Dante Moore has now had 2 seasons with them. And I think they are going to be completely
running. Yep.
Oh yeah, 100. Like, they're not going to miss a beat with that. Clemson is just a super well-rounded team. Super well-rounded. Cade Klubnik is a legitimate star, projected first overall pick. They also have stupid amount of studs on that team. Like, there's probably going to be about, what was it? They're going to have probably about 3 players drafted in the top 10 this year. And that becoming an NFL draft prospect does not mean you're a good college player sometimes. But with this Clemson team, I fully believe that. Like, Cade Klubnik's legit. They have 2 pass rushers on their team that are dumb talented too. And we are finally talking about Clemson finally investing into NIL, and like they should have never fallen off. I understand Dabo wanted to try to go against the NIL, but him investing into it is now this is the Clemson of old. And what I mean by that is this is the one that we're going against Alabama all those years. Like this is the return of Clemson. And I think they are also the team that I picked to win the national championship this year to beat Texas. And I really like them. And I had a time struggling between UT, Alabama, Oregon, and Clemson. Like between those four, any of those four could win the national championship. I would not surprise me one single bit.
Yeah. Like I said last show, this is kind of be like my first season, like being like, I don't want to say forced because I like doing this, but like strapping myself in and watching college football, paying attention. So I know what the hell Gerardo's talking about when he gets into these deep dives, these players, these schools.
College football, like that's like a crazy rabbit hole to get a hold of. Like honestly, because of how vast it is. And it's like, and also like we were discussing, it's like you could be an elite level college player. Does not mean you're a good NFL prospect. There's amazing.
I think that was like my hard thing when I was first getting into it. Like I watched it a little bit when I was a kid. I watched a lot of U Miami, back in the late 2010s when they were like totally
oh
mid.
my god, that's like, is it? Oh my god,
Brad Kaya.
Brad Kai, yeah, I remember the quarterback they had beforehand. He wore number 12. I forget.
I
name.
don't remember him. I remember Brad Kaya and I remember Malik Rozier.
Yeah, tough
But
sledding.
that was the first like wake up to reality because I thought Brad Kaya was the man. And I was like, this guy cannot fail. He's going to be like a second, third round pick in the NFL draft. And he's going to stick around the league for such a long time. Went at the end of the 6th round, got cut.
Yeah, and to kind of wrap that up before we go into the week 1 matchups, it was funny because I remember there was a discussion that we had in one of the Facebook groups that we were part of the best ever college football athletes, like the top ranking list. And I go, this list is too filled with NFL prospects. And I'm like, y'all think that their NFL career matched their college football outlook. For instance, Andrew Luck is an amazing player, but in college football, there's a lot of quarterbacks that outperformed him in college football. For instance, Geno Smith was a better college football player than Andrew Luck.
Wow.
Geno Smith was dumb talented.
And do you know how that sounds to a guy who doesn't really follow?
And that's what I'm saying. Like, can you imagine me telling you, hey, by the way, Geno Smith was like almost 5 times better than Andrew Luck in college?
I'm dumbfounded hearing you say that.
So, like Tosh Boyd was a very successful like Clemson quarterback.
I only remember his NFL career.
But everybody thinks like, what in the world? Tosh Boyd? Like, who's another guy that we could talk about? I mean, any Texas Tech, like Graham Harrell. Like
that doesn't even ring a bell.
Yeah, same thing with like the quarterback from Hawaii that threw for 1,000,000 yards.
Oh, like, rest in peace.
Yep.
Colt Brennan.
I mean, he's a college football like Hall of Famer, but NFL prospect wise, no. And that's what I'm saying, that a lot of people, if you're coming from NFL down, the number one thing you need to watch is just because they're dumb talented in college does not mean anywhere at all that they're going to be good in the NFL. And just because they're good in the NFL does not mean they were good in college. Like, and that's where I think that's so funny about like for instance, Toby Gerhart. Toby Gerhart was a legitimate running back in college football. Bust in the NFL.
Totally mid with the Jags.
Oh, well, he was with the Vikings. Remember, he was Adrian Peterson's backup. He drafted him in the second round.
I remember him with the Jags.
Yeah, but exactly like complete, like, for instance, Tim Tebow, arguably the best ever college football player there has ever been.
Not my favorite, but he certainly, you can't deny the greatness. My favorite was Johnny Football.
Joe Burrow is hard for me to beat. Like Joe Burrow, Cam Newton carry job is insane as well too. Like the fact that it was him and I forget that defensive tackle. But they were the only two carrying that team. The rest of the team were like, no, I think that there was only total of 4 players that made the NFL from that roster. And he was the sole reason. But like that's why I said like what's so fun about college football is just like all these people popping off. The Heisman, Just because you win the Heisman doesn't mean you're a good NFL player.
It
But
actually means you're probably
recently,
more likely to suck if you win the
yeah, but
Heisman.
recently it's a little bit different now, though. Like Cam Newton kind of changed that. Cam Newton was really good. Joe Burrow. You also have what else?
Devontae Smith is fine.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, I wouldn't
Derrick
say.
Henry is an all-timer. Didn't he win the Heisman? Did he
I
not?
believe so.
Did Derrick Henry? Did I just make that up?
He should have. I'm sure he did.
Derrick
Yes, he
Henry
did. Yes, he did. He did. I'm
2015.
right. But like nowadays, like winning the Heisman actually means you're actually going to be a good NFL prospect. Back then, it didn't. Like not at all. If you won the Heisman, you were going to be the last successful Heisman in the NFL was like Reggie Bush
Yep. And
in
even
that
then,
era.
Reggie Bush had a very complicated NFL career.
Didn't he have over 1,000 yards with the Miami Dolphins? Like his best ever rushing season was with Miami.
Reggie Bush. I remember him like suing the Detroit Lions because he tore his ACL in their field.
Yeah, because he played with he was really good with the Dolphins.
He had 2 1,000-yard years, one in Miami and one in Detroit.
Would have never thought that from Reggie. Would have never thought that he was but yeah, like, but
So
that's
I had
what
the
I
list
say.
of Heisman by year because I was just kind of curious.
Yeah. So last year, I mean, you had Jaden
Since
Daniels.
2013, they've all been pretty, or since 2014, they've all been pretty good. Derrick Henry, Lamar
Yep.
Jackson, Baker
Yep.
Mayfield, Kyler
Yep.
Murray,
Yep.
Joe Burrow, Devontae
Yep.
Smith, Bryce Young, asterisk, Caleb Williams, asterisk, Jaden Daniels, Travis Hunter, asterisk.
Yep. So since what year did you start off with?
2013.
So let's
2014.
Yeah. So
After
almost
Mariota.
So 10 years. So essentially for 10 years, about over 50 have now been successful.
Over successful comes in all shapes and sizes, but
that lived up to what a Heisman is, because that means you're the greatest college football player of that season.
God, 2012 Johnny Manziel. So good.
The biggest snub for me, if we're going to talk about Heisman talk, is CMC. He broke Barry Sanders' all-purpose yards record and was, I think, third place when and I was like, bro, you are never going to see that again. Ashon Jeanty came close, but
oh God, I'm staring at this list too long. I feel gross. Carson Palmer won the Heisman the year I was born.
I mean, but he was also
I hated him in the NFL.
One of the only players that actually was actually good from winning the Heisman. Look at the rest of that list.
Like, yeah, between Palmer, after Palmer, it was Jason White, Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, Troy Smith, Tebow, Sam Bradford, who I contest. Sam Bradford was really good when he was healthy.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? Yes. If Sam Bradford never gets hurt, he's an elite. He's won a Super Bowl and probably a Hall of Famer.
One of the most like what if careers ever. Sam Bradford.
I was so upset, and I remember when he was with the Eagles too. I was like, "This is finally going to be it."
Then the Vikings, and he was good.
It was so tragic, man. That's one of my all-time favorite players.
Sam Bradford.
I loved him in college. I thought that was Andrew Luck before Andrew Luck. Like legitimately, he was so talented.
And that was the last year of those guys getting like major rookie contracts when they get into the
NFL.
that
motherfucker was getting bank. That was old CBA money. That was old. I think what is 80 million? He got 80 million.
Sam Bradford's rookie contract.
Yeah, I believe it was 80 or 60 to 80.
6 years, $78 million. That's like backup money now, but back then that was.
Bro, that would be like nowadays getting a quarterback for 200 mil.
Yeah, the 6 years.
That would be like Jaden Daniels, 7 years, 245. Like that would be insane.
Coming out of college.
Oh yeah, I mean the biggest reason why from that was Jamarcus Russell, because you were and also funny enough, a quick tangent before we get into the college was that teams would actually hate getting the first overall pick
because they had to pay the fucker. Yeah,
because they were like, "Oh my God, we have to pay this unproven motherfucker $60 million. Why am I here?" Like it's ironic that back in the day, NFL teams did not want the first overall pick like that, because they knew like how expensive.
Yeah, we're getting Megatron, but we got to pay him, and we got to take a third mortgage out on Ford Field. Like,
yeah, the 2000s NFL is a wild time before the lockout year.
Yeah, and I became a fan in 2012. That was my
I
first
was
year. So all I've known is what we got now.
That's good. Which yeah, so you watched football, and to me, the first time I was evaluating draft talent was 2012, 2011, which to me is the greatest NFL draft
I
class
didn't
of
know
all
dick
time.
about draft until like 2017.
I
Trubisky,
got
Watson,
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Pat.
my first real breakdown of that was I think Johnny Manziel Clowney draft class.
Were you a
And I
Johnny
re-
football guy in the NFL?
no, 100% not.
I
100% not.
I was. I was.
That's because I knew relatively of him. So I was
I
like,
was a kid. I was arguing with my sixth grade teacher. Johnny Manziel's the freaking man, dude. Watch this.
oh, the most what was it? Varsity Blues guy of all time. 100.
Money.
Oh, Money Manziel. And good for him having his own podcast now.
I listen. I listen all the time.
Also legitimately good golfer. Like he actually could be he could if he focused on golf full time, he'd be a pro.
Yeah, that's how you know he's like Texas oil money is when he's a kid who plays golf.
Oh yeah. Well,
All
let's
right.
break down the rest of these games real quick before we head on out of here. The big games that I wrote down: Georgia Tech at Colorado. Colorado without Shador and Travis Hunter. They are, I believe they. I don't know if they've named their starter yet because they have a Julian Lewis as their top 5-star quarterback. That was the number one quarterback this year in recruiting, and then
They
they
named
brought in.
Salter their QB1.
Okay, and he's a legitimately good quarterback too. He was at Liberty, I believe. He broke all of what's his face's records. That's on
Malik
the
Willis.
yeah, he broke all his records there. But I think Georgia Tech is just how you already heard. I haven't gone to the playoffs, so they're gonna beat.
They're 4.5 point favorite, Georgia Tech.
Mhm. I think they're probably a little bit better. I think Colorado lost a lot of players.
Yeah, I think they're just kind of like, ooh, we'll see how this goes.
Yeah.
Um, Up next, Virginia Tech. Shout out to our guy Elcio.
Mm-hmm.
Play in the real USC, South Carolina, neutral site. Where is it being played at?
I believe it's in Georgia. This one. So
Interesting. South Carolina, a touchdown PAT favorite.
yeah, I'm gonna take South Carolina. I love their quarterback as well too.
Who
Also,
doesn't?
that is Frank Bremer's son led head coach for the South Carolina. So technically, this was a legacy game, you can say.
Go Cox, baby.
Yeah, I would say I'm going to go with South Carolina on this one.
The Catholics versus the Cons. Number 6 Notre Dame versus number 10 Miami in Miami. Notre Dame 2.5 point favorite. Both teams losing quarterbacks. It could get a little dicey.
I'm gonna go with a. This is the biggest coin flip one, I think.
That
Uh,
reflects why Notre Dame is 2.5 point favorites.
Give me Notre Dame at home. I mean, not at home. Notre Dame. I think I like Notre Dame early on. I think they've always been a good beginning of the year team. I think they just never. They're good to beginning to mid team. They are never a good closeout team. So I think that they're very well coached, obviously, with Marcus Freeman. And I think with his Miami team, like I'm just not a Carson Beck guy. He is immensely talented and all the positive things I've said about Miami,
He
but
has a lot of weight on his shoulder following this offseason.
yeah, you go from first overall pick potential to Heisman front runner to now you are the dude who is transferred to Miami because of your girlfriend.
Yeah, you're the guy who has his balls in your girlfriend's purse. Like,
Yeah, that's a bit odd. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Notre Dame on this one. But this is the biggest. If you tell me either 1-1, I wouldn't have been surprised.
number 9, the LSU Tigers at number 4, Clemson. Clemson 3.5 point favorites.
Big notable ones from this. Brian Kelly has yet to win a home opener with LSU, and somehow they think this is the year that they're going to do it. And I'm gonna say you're wrong. I'm gonna give Clemson. Clemson's going to be more than 3.5 point favorites. I think they're going to win by 10 or more points this game. I'm gonna say 13 points.
Ass whooping, huh?
I'm gonna go 33-20. If I was gonna put I think Clemson's that much talented, and LSU always gets shell shocked week one. Brian Kelly is also make or break year for him too. For
the
LSU.
record, this game is in Clemson.
Yeah, even more. So I'm going to go with, I think, a 13-point game. I'm going to go 33-20.
Bama going down to, where they play?
Florida
Tallahassee.
State. Yeah, what was it? They only won 3 games last year, Florida State. Yeah, give me Bama. Bama's going to really beat them, like, big time.
It's in Florida State.
That don't mean nothing. That team is so bad.
They
That might as
got
well
rid
be
of
an
DJ UPS driver. I mean,
big whoop. The rest of you could get rid of the quarterback. They were still going to win only 3 games last year.
is anybody notable even playing quarterback for them right now? Like,
no, I couldn't even for the life of me. Speaking of DJU, you know that's actually one of the his brother plays defensive end, I believe, for Oregon.
oh, they got the guy from BC, Tommy Castellanos.
There we go.
Oh, I hate him. He's so just.
Yep.
He is a diva, like you wouldn't believe.
Oh well.
Diva
Give me Alabama by 20.
Forced his way out of BC because Bill Brown was like, you know what, you're kind of just not. You're not doing what I thought you would. So we're gonna yank you for this guy. And he pitched a fit, moaned, bitched, complained, forced his way out, and he transferred to Florida State. Best of luck to him. I don't see it going well. He's also really tiny.
Give me Bama by 20.
He's 5'11", 201. Like, I don't see it with you, buddy. Yeah, I'll go Bama with you as well. And last up, TN, UT, Tennessee, going to or that's Texas.
Yeah.
Why would you put UT?
My bad. I'm from Texas, so it's always called UT. TU is Tennessee.
I've been listening to too much Morgan Wallen. It's the UT on the TV. Texas, number 1.
It's funny because to me, this is how you write 10. Tennessee is like that. TENN.
Yep, not TN. I should have picked it up from like number 1 ranked. I'm like, Tennessee wouldn't be number 1 ranked.
That'd be sick. This is a statement game.
Ohio State.
Yeah, give me Texas over Ohio State. I think they're going to come out very strong. I think Ohio State's quarterback woes in the sense of them not picking a starter. I mean, they have picked a starter, but I just think that what you're losing in Will Howard is going to really be the detriment to this team. They're going to pick up momentum throughout the year, but I think that this Texas team is ready to win. Like, this is their year in so many different areas. Steve Sarkisian has finally been proven so many times to be a good coach. They get Arch Manning. Their team is loaded from head to toe in so many different positions. There's so many true leaders on that team. Like, I think this is UT's year to win it. And even though I didn't have them winning, I have them losing to Clemson. But
if they're going to do it, it's this year.
Yes, I think this is the best year of all time for UT recently. So I got them beating Ohio State. I'll say by like 10 points.
All righty. Well, those are your week 1 picks. We'll see how they age, whether it's like wine or if it's like milk.
Milk.
Yeah.
The only one that I have full faith in, like if you held a gun to my head, I mean, I'm not doing the Bama Florida State one because that's like a given. Clemson LSU. I think 100% Clemson's winning that game. Like Brian, what's his name? Brian Kelly is just not a good week 1 coach. And he also just doesn't fit LSU. But he's also not an LSU like coach neither. Like I just don't think I don't think LSU's they've never needed a hard ass guy like him, like a fake hard ass guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like those Notre Dame led teams, like I've never had faith in them ever when he was there. Those Cincinnati teams, though, he was legit. Like I think he's such a good it's the same thing with James Franklin. James Franklin's an amazing head coach for Vanderbilt. For Penn State, I don't know. Same thing with like Brian Kelly. I think like you give him a non-Power 5 team, like I think he's a really good coach for them. But when you give him all these resources, it's like, bro, I don't think he's ever winning a natty.
Well, We'll see how they all come together on Sunday when we get back here and we record as Notre Dame and I already forget who they're playing.
Miami.
Miami kicks off Sunday night.
Yep. So that game will be happening live while we will be doing our podcast. So that's going to be fun, actually.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Because we get to literally make all the jokes about, hey, dude, that girlfriend's boyfriend, the Miami quarterback's girlfriend's on the field.
Who's gonna get more TV time week 1? You think Jordan Hudson or Carson Beck's girlfriend?
Oh, that's a bet that I want to make, and I would say, because they're both in prime time. They're both the only games on. Hudson.
Belichick.
100%.
Belichick
Yeah.
factor.
100%. 100%. Is she on the sideline?
Belichick's been letting her roam around during practice, so I'm
She
assuming
may call a play.
She may call a play.
She may line up under center.
UNC is playing TCU on Monday night.
Oh, they may lose that game too, by the way.
Can you imagine?
I would love that. By the way, the other storyline about that is that and we're not here to shame anybody. That's not what me and Caleb do, but the starting quarterback for TCU is a furry. And has come out and said that he's openly a furry as well too.
What?
Yes. If you just look it up, that I think somebody had screenshotted his story of him in his costume, and they said, "Y'all, this is TCU starting quarterback." And then he said, "Yes, it is. That is me." So the interesting headline is that a furry will be the starting quarterback for TCU going against Bill Belichick, and now deemed. Remember, I sent you that article today that they both trademarked the term gold digger. I'm assuming they want to launch a jewelry company. But yes, this is college football, y'all. A furry's at quarterback for TCU and
against Bill Belichick
and his gold digging girlfriend. Trademark pending.
I'm surprised Kanye hasn't jumped on that yet.
Well, I mean, good. I think now because they're making it a brand. So
yeah, Kanye would have just used it for anti-Semitism.
Lord have mercy. But yeah, no, that's probably the most interesting storyline, the non-traditional
game that doesn't matter. Yeah.
I mean, it could. The funny thing is, though, Bill Belichick has an unbelievably easy schedule to start off with.
I think he's going to coach circles around most of these college coaches.
I think he'll end up. The thing is, what I've heard is that even if me and you were the head coach at UNC, we would win 8 games this year.
Well, they're that talented?
Their schedule's that easy.
Oh.
The games that they're going to lose are the games they're supposed to lose, and the games that they're supposed to win, they're going to win. And I think that this is the thing is that UNC was already a little bit of a talented team with Mac Brown there. I mean, the years they had Drake May, the years that they had before him, what was that quarterback?
Sam Howell.
Yeah, like they were very good teams. They were very talented teams.
Well, yeah, Drake May had them going like 9-0, 8-0, and then it would
fall apart. Mind you, mega carry job by him. That dude was really because his freshman year was the last time they had a good team around him. But his sophomore and his junior year, oh my God, that was a 3-9 team with him that he was surrounded with. Now, Bill Belichick's coming to a team that's immensely talented, but they had 75 people come in, 75 new players come in, and that's a huge turnover rate. But mind you, we already went over the fact that usually when you invest, it always works out. And I think it's really interesting. It's a really interesting to see, but I just don't think if you were to look at, you brought Bill Belichick in to go 8-4. Do you feel successful?
No.
There we go.
You got to win the ACC.
Yeah, and I just think it's not looking like that this year for him. I think the college football game and the NFL game is two immensely different things. You are when I was watching the Any Given Saturday, that SEC documentary on Netflix, which
I
goes
haven't
over
watched it yet.
the best line from there was Brian Kelly goes, I put my mortgage, I put my living, and I put my family invested into 18 to 21-year-olds. Tell me I ain't stupid. And I was like, Bill Belichick loves control. You know who's the most uncontrollable age group of all time?
18 to 21-year-olds.
Okay. That's my biggest reason why I think Bill Belichick won't be successful in college football. It's he already didn't like rookies that much. He just essentially got entitled, like, especially like true freshmen coming in. Like, imagine the number one overall player coming into UNNC. Yeah, I want $5 million in NIL. What do you think Bill's gonna say?
No, you think I ain't get Tom Brady $5 million? Like, what are you talking about? I'm not giving you $5 million. You can shove your ass up with $5 million.
Exactly. And you know what the kid's gonna go? I guess I won't play. Or
Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out.
yeah, and I also think Bill Belichick is such a dated coach too. Like, I think also like there's a
He
reason
is
why
a dated coach. He's dating the age group that he's trying to recruit.
Enough said. Enough said. And that will wrap up our today's episode of Explicitly Unbiased.
Yes, it will. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. Again, I cannot stress this enough. Follow our Facebook page. We need to get that thing to 100 so we can go live and see all your beautiful faces as we do it.
100%. Interaction goes a long way with us because then we can interact with y'all, answer live questions, as well to have y'all be a part of the show. And that's the one thing, big reason why we started this. So thank y'all so much for the continual support. We have a lot of episodes already up on our YouTube breaking down all of our
This
predictions.
is episode 3, so we've hit that.
We had to
mark.
do episode 4. Yeah, everybody gets the third episode once we hit.
Yeah, so we're wrapping it up now. Like we're done.
Yep, it was the crazy stat that I told Caleb was, I believe 90% of all podcasts never go to a 4th episode. And we already have the 4th episode lined up for Sunday, so.
We do. It's hard to screw that up. Alrighty, we'll see you all. I'll see you on Sunday, and everybody will see this probably Monday. So, looking forward to it. And we will see you all on Labor Day.
Adios.